everyone, and welcome to the next episode of Knights of Eveningstar here on the D&D channel. Thanks for joining us. I am your Dungeon Master, Mark SherlockHulmes, and I'm joined by my four wonderful friends as we go through our adventures of running a kingdom in the nation of Cormyr in the Forgotten Realms. And those four amazing friends are these wonderful people. I'm joined by the wonderful Nate Sharp Anna Prosser, Jonathan Indovino, aka ShadyPenguinn, and of course the lovely as ever Mica Burton. Thank you very much, my friends, for joining me. I'm excited to see you. It's for you guys watching this, it's probably only been a couple of weeks, but it's probably been a bit more time with us because there's been a lot of stuff happening. So we are all together, and hopefully everyone remembered everything that happened last time because I definitely do. And it's going to be a lot of fun. And if you don't know what Nights of Eveningstar is, this is a D&D show where, like I said, they are managing a kingdom. It's very much a kind of kingdom management campaign. We've had some more traditional D&D stuff, but we're kind of getting back into the swing of running the kingdom of Eveningstar and its surrounding lands. And yeah, have I forgotten anything, or is there anything I should mention, dear friends?
You forgot the 4 levels we gained last episode?
Mm-hmm. Oh, and the 500,000 gold.
Yes,
you told me.
We also all got our own personal dragons to ride. That totally happened. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, that did. Yeah,
that was amazing.
Uh-huh.
I
Just kept going up.
I mean, let me tell you what happens when you can have all of that stuff, and then I'll say, "Yep, you guys get all that stuff." Now the campaign's over. Thanks very much for watching, everybody. Goodbye. And then the stream ends, and then that's what happens. So
thanks for watching.
Yeah, thanks for watching, everyone. But no, we'll get to that. Don't worry. You'll get your personal dragons, and you'll get your 4 levels, and you'll get your 500,000 gold. But we got to get there first. And to do that, there's a lot of fun stuff we're going to do. Do you guys want to... We did kind of do this last week, but just in case people are brand new, like literally a 1-sentence character introduction of who you are and who you're playing. And we're going to start with Anna Prosser because she's such a cool professional. She's going to nail this in one. Go, Anna.
That's because I'm wearing a blazer, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
why
you look
think
super
that.
professional, yeah.
Yeah, literally I'm wearing sweatpants and a t-shirt, and I threw a blazer over the top of it. And I was like... Business.
Business time.
Business. My character is named Agnis. She is a wildfire druid. She has a fire spirit named Candor, who is in the shape of a bird. She is a noble, but she kind of likes to pretend she's cooler than that. And her half-brother is Tarkhal.
Who is played by...
ShadyPenguinn. Tarkhal Crownsilver is a rogue gone lover waiting for Willowsong to return and open up the affectional pathways to his heart.
Affectional pathways.
That's
Rogue
what
gone
I got.
lover.
I'm the
God,
professional
forgot
even
me.
without the blazer, all right?
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
can borrow my blazer if you need
I
to.
think I need it after that. I really do.
Yeah, amazing. Well, after that incredible piece, I think we have to go to Nate Sharp to kind of match up.
Clyve of the Wild Magic Lion Punch, also now coordinating the Den of War.
Yes, you are the the coordinator of the Den of War, the War Den of Eveningstar. Very impressive stuff. And then finishing it all off, we have Mica.
Hi, I'm Mica Burton. I'm playing Azara Mithras. She is a blue dragon sorcerer. Now that everybody's messed me up, I'm messed up. I was professional, and now I'm not professional anymore. She's the head of magic, and...
You've got some levels in cleric.
And cleric. And...
Yep. It's like it started at Anna, and then it just like Shady was just like, no, that's up too high. Drag it
Some
down.
chaos, man. That was so neat and orderly. It was great, but it was good.
And then Nate was just like, that.
When Nate was just like words, and then I didn't words. That's how we wrapped it all up.
Amazing.
Welcome, Mark.
That's fine. That's perfect. There's your characters for this little game that we're going to be playing through. Last time on Nights of Eveningstar, there was a lot of sort of administrative stuff. The party have returned to Eveningstar. They've bedded back in after their many adventures to the Shadowfell and some weird magical day spa where there were hags and all sorts of stuff went down. But they've come back to Eveningstar. They've kind of reassessed the situation in their kingdom, and now is their opportunity to kind of focus on its growth and building it out and their plans for the future. And you guys came up with a bunch of plans of things that you wanted to do. You've installed several new members to the Council of Rule, which is your kind of main governmental body for the kingdom of Eveningstar. You have all of your. You have each of you have a position. Agnis and Tarkhal are the two nobles, the Baron and Baroness, who rule over Eveningstar at the top. You have as your commander, your sort of general, Elissa Dawnwhisper, who is an NPC, who's very a good friend of Azara's. Big gal pals. And then we have your Seneschal Dusk, who is a tiefling, who kind of helps kind of organize things with the local folk, the peasants, the serfs, that sort of thing. We have Azara as your magister, your kind of counselor and advisor of all magical means, but also is responsible for education and magical protection of the kingdom. But you assigned Clyve of the Wild Mane to become your warden, who is the sort of responsible for the patrols, the town guard, and the sort of more day-to-day sort of defense of the city, whereas Elissa is in charge of your armies and your professional military units. And then you also assigned young Aaron Baker, a human teenager who is very awkward and weird, as the town crier. And his role is to basically be a sort of postman / town crier and sort of get the local gossip and kind of, get to know everybody. And that is pretty much who you assigned to the Council of Rule. You also had you did some kind of treasury stuff where you kind of donated some valuables that you've gained in your adventuring period. And you also had some plans on some buildings to construct. And in fact, I think, White Text Friend, if we can bring up the various stats from our kingdom tracker. And if all of you as well, if you log into the Roll20 service and join the game, you'll be able to see those stats where we have the maps of the town, we have the Eveningstar stats, and we have the regional map as well. And we'll just do a quick recap on that, and then we're going to get into it all. Any questions or any things to bring up before we kind of kick everything off properly? This is still all very much what happened last time. Mica Burton.
When it comes to the quests that we have on the side, did we last time discuss what we wanted to do to wrap those up, or are we doing that now?
I think that there was a brief plan to finish up one of the quests that you had from previous seasons, which is returning to Lady Braewinter, who was the one who sent you to find the lantern in Castle Braewinter. But there wasn't any sort of like firm, we are doing this next time kind of thing. But there was discussion around completing that. But yeah, I did give you a bunch of sort of quests per se. Things to develop in the kingdom, but also some outstanding matters that you have investigated and discovered elsewhere. So we have the kingdom stats. You can see those there. I can also show you the regional map here of Eveningstar, just to kind of give you a little rough idea of the surrounding area and your current lands that you control. And then finally, and this is probably the more fun one, this is the actual little map of Eveningstar, displaying some of the things that you've already built. You've rebuilt the inn, which you've called the Tressum King. You also have a blacksmith, which we're going to talk about maybe giving a name and deciding who that blacksmith is today. You have a couple of farms. You have a little bakery, and Huldar, which is your potion maker, your alchemy, as well as a little quarry. But the first thing we're going to do in this brand new session today, and this is something I mentioned last time, is something I've kind of taken from some other game systems and some third-party material called the Kingdom Phase. And this is basically going to be a series of kind of roles to just kind of figure out what is going to happen to the kingdom over the next month, and then we're going to drop into the sort of more role-playing, interacting with NPCs, and you guys deciding what you want to do in the time that month takes place. And the way that this works is you're going to use some of your kingdom stats, of which you have 3. You have wealth, morale, and defense. And you're going to be making some rolls against your kingdom DC, which is worked out based on how big the kingdom is and various problems or lack of problems therein. And we're going to go through that. And if there's any questions, you can just pop your hand up and say, Mark, I have question, and then we'll go through it. So we are going to start by going through this thing called the Kingdom Phase. And the first thing we're going to do is something called Determine Kingdom Stability. And this is generally like a roll to see, not just like, to see how stable the kingdom is. So like, are bandits attacking? Like, how well does your military respond to that? But also, how are the people feeling? Are they happy? Are they unhappy? Are they being sort of kept in line if they're being a bit unruly? That sort of stuff. And I'd like, because this is going to use your defense stat, of which I believe both Tarkhal and Clyve are both closely related. So one of you two to make the roll, please. Who would like to make this the kingdom stability roll?
I think it only makes sense, being the noble and, on top, that I let the Lion Man do it.
Right, okay.
All right.
Even though you have a +4 to defense.
Well, no, it's not individually. So this is across the kingdom.
Okay.
So I worked all this out based on the council decisions and the buildings and stuff that you currently have in place. You have a +10 to this roll, Nate. So it's a D20 plus 10.
Right. That
But the DC is quite high. So.
Okay, so +10 for a total of 28.
28, that is a success. I'm not going to tell you what the DC is, but that is a success. So that basically what that means is that, there would have been a -2 to that roll because of your unrest, which would have brought it to 26, which is still a success. And what that means is the kingdom is in a good place. Your patrols, the warden, your military is keeping the roads safe. Banditry hasn't really become a problem. There might be a random event that causes this to be a problem, but for the most part, the roads are safe, the people are happy, everything is fine currently in Eveningstar. And that actually means that your unrest goes down by 1 for the month. So the rest of the checks you make will only have a -1 penalty now. So cool. So the next thing that happens
in Eveningstar.
Life is very good in Eveningstar, and this is more of a bookkeeping thing, but the next thing we do is your kingdom cost is deducted from your treasury. And if you can't do this, if it goes into the negatives in your treasury, then your unrest goes up, because people aren't very happy when they know their kingdom's broke. Your current costs, which is based on the size of the kingdom plus your military units, is 835 gold, which we're going to take away from your treasury of 3,450, and I would like somebody who is very good at math to do that for me.
Who has a calculator?
Shady is a calculator.
I missed the numbers because I'm really confused. My D20 is a different color than the rest of my dice, and it's throwing me off. I'm freaking out right now.
My brain heard words, numbers that don't mean anything, and then words again.
Words again. 3,450 minus 835.
Okay, got it. You need the answer?
Yes, I would like the
2615. Listen, you gotta be specific, Mark. My D20 is copper. The rest of them are brown. I'm taking a picture. I don't get how this happened. 26 what?
He's really distraught.
26.
These are my veil dice. How could I never have noticed? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
What was it? It was 2,600 and something.
2615.
15, thank you. I was thrown off there for a massive second. Amazing. You guys still have plenty of gold in the treasury, and the cost covers things like making sure that you have like import supplies and all your armies are paid for, and all your sort of like fees and general abstract number is paid for. Nice. The next thing we would do is if you wanted to change anybody on the Council of Rule, but we already kind of did that last week, so we don't need to worry about that. The next thing's an exciting one, which is claiming territory. So if I switch you over to your region map, you guys currently have a kind of an area, a border around Eveningstar, which is land that you patrol, that you have built for farming, that you have available to use to you. Now, because you are still a small kingdom, you can claim up to 2 hexes of space. So if you look on the old map, you can see they're all divided into hexes. White text friend, if we can make sure that the map is up on this. You guys can claim 2 hexes as long as it's already attached to your current kingdom. So any hex that's already touching your borders. But to do so, you have to use one of your military units to clear that territory out. And what that means is if, for say, Eveningstar came under attack in a random event, or if there was, some enemy or some problem that came up, those military units would not be available to use. And I'm going to cut you off before you ask the question, Anna. Tressim cannot capture territory. Flying cats cannot capture hexes.
What?
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask.
Yeah.
I feel like that's just a lack of creativity. Flying cats can do whatever they want.
Flying cats can do whatever they want.
I would run from a aggressive flock of flying cats.
Especially if they have spears.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they have spears.
I made them spears, excuse you.
We can attach spears to their claws.
Oh, that's scary.
giant hand spears. Well, that's maybe something we'll come into for the next kingdom phase. But for now, you have a unit of archers and you have your unit of infantry, both of which can be sent. But the question is, what kind of area do you want to expand into? I will say that if you capture a section of the woods, maybe that gives you more resources to use for building buildings and things like that. But open grassland, you can build farms on, which helps you cut your costs down. You could start making your way towards capturing the old mine, which is just to the north of Eveningstar, or maybe the hills beyond the keep, and the hills might have resources in them. The choice is yours.
I was also looking at this little inlet of water that's exactly to...
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's like a little river. It's basically like a little offshoot, like a brook. So that could potentially be good. Again, you can turn that into farmland or, kind of fertile land for doing stuff on.
It also seems like a security thing. I feel like we want to control that body of water if there's ever anyone invading. Although we already are building walls around the other part, right?
Yeah, you did want to. We're going to get to that, but yeah, building walls was quite high on your list of stuff to do. Maybe capturing that little bit of river would stop things river-based enemies like little Sahagin and stuff like that. They would have a harder time sort of launching attacks and stuff like that.
I think, even though I like the river idea, that we should take 1 hex of forest and 1 hex next to Starwatch Keep down the bluffs toward the old mine.
I would agree, because I was going to say we should start branching towards the mine, but also forest is good for resources.
What hex is best for Eveningland when we start developing the theme park?
I think near the water is always good for a resort.
Okay. Yeah, you gotta have the log flume ride in there, right?
All right, then I concur with my sister.
Yeah.
So you want to go for this hex here, which is just the sort of southeast of Eveningstar, and then you want to also start making your way towards the old mine northwest of Starwatch Keep.
Lion, do you concur?
Aye.
And this would mean sending out your troops, your infantry, and your archers off to basically capture those squares for the month. And that means clearing them out of lower level enemies and making sure it's safe and clearing passages and stuff like that. And generally just doing boring work that cool adventurers shouldn't have to do. The next thing, and we should just get an idea of this now, because I know you already had some ideas, is building. So this is another sort of exciting one I know you guys want to do. There is a list in the handout section, which is all the building costs and bonuses. And you did have some plans on building some walls as well. The next step is to add buildings, build roads, or establish farmlands. Farmlands need to go in a hex. Roads also go on a hex, but buildings go in the actual town of Eveningstar itself. So you guys had some plans around walls and stuff. What did you guys want to do about that?
I think we've made Tarkhal the wall master.
Yeah.
I feel like you had the most... You and Azara had the most definite plans around walls.
Yes, the walls. Now, hear me out. I want the walls to act as a new invention known as a stroller coaster. The walls are not flat. They're up and down, they're wavy, maybe a loop here or there, and the citizens can stroll.
A loop.
Yes.
How does one walk on a loop?
Well, Azara is second in command of all walls. I'm sure some magic can make that happen.
Azara, can you suspend gravity on a section of wall?
Zara looks through a lot of books, consults the stars, comes back 2 days later and says, no.
I believe if you have the will and the strength, you can just haul ass through a loop. And if you fall, you weren't meant for the loop in the first place. It's a test.
Note to yourself, put a loop in a dungeon, in a battle map for Clyve to try and get around.
If I do remember correctly, we wanted to do these stone walls, or the wooden palisade walls.
Around everything.
Around everything. And then we wanted, what was the one that, the watchtowers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I think I got convinced that watchtowers were not a priority.
Right, because
our defense is so high.
We wanted to do the wood walls and then the stone walls, and then leave the watchtowers for later.
Okay, all right.
We can only choose one thing, right? It's if we choose wood walls, we're getting wood walls this month.
Yeah,
Right,
that's it.
that's
So
what it was, that's what
you
it
can
was.
you can build like one thing per month basically,
Right.
and the walls
But in
is
order of what
the
we
four
want to
walls.
do per month.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this turn it represents 1 month. We're going to do more of these turns in the future. This is just to represent the sort of next month for Eveningstar. So that is, you want to build wooden walls around the town for this month. That's going to be the focus of your construction, and that is going to be where are they? Wooden palisade walls, 400 GP per quarter. So you're looking at 1,600 gold, and we can modify that off of the Kingdom Treasury. Marvelous. Fantastic. All right, so we're going to spend that now, so that we know that that is Gaunzo.
Our money.
So you currently have 1,015 gold in the treasury. And remember, you have a cost. Your cost is going to be 835 gold every month. And that will only go up the more military units and the bigger the kingdom gets. So make sure you've got some money in the treasury for that. Cool. You've already done some, fiddling with the treasury funds, putting some money in. You haven't got magic items and stuff to sell, or maybe you do, but we'll do that later. We'll get to the fun stuff. The next thing to do is a wealth check. So who would like to roll this? This is to basically determine if your town makes money this month, if your kingdom generates value.
We should never let me roll these and often let Nate roll them.
Okay.
Nate's looking not very convinced by that.
Why? I'm the warden.
Well, I mean, Azara loves money. I feel like
Azara is currently like the one mainly contributing to the wealth of Eveningstar, I would put out. Her position on the council.
Theme park that creates revenue.
Well, it will
It's
do.
a
Right
group
now, it's a
effort.
money sink. You're in the early stages of Disneyland where everyone's like,
It's a
I'm
long
sure
term.
about this.
Yeah, we learned from Cat Dog. It's buy more, make more. Okay,
Right.
buy more, make more.
Gotcha.
4 people
Thanks,
in
Cat
chat
Dog.
got that, by
So
the way.
in short, Mica should roll.
I'll roll.
Yes.
Sure.
Just
So this is going to be D20 plus 5, which is your current total, but minus 1 and that. So it's actually plus 4. Because of your
21.
unrest. 21. Okay, so that is not going to be enough to beat the Kingdom DC, which is quite high. So you want to up the wealth. You don't lose any money. You just don't gain any extra income this month. All of the income the town is making is
We
being
need more
reinvested
wealth.
into the cost. You do, yeah. More wealth would be a very good thing to get.
Money.
Towns in lockdown. Small businesses are suffering.
Small businesses are suffering. It's that it's that trade-off, right? Of high defense. The town is very well defended, but right now it's just not. There's not enough stuff here for people
There's
to
not
kind of
going to be
invest in
anything
trade.
worth defending.
Also,
Yeah.
nobody cares enough about us to attack us.
And then the very last thing, and this is a role for me to do, and then if there are any events which would kind of put the test of the morale, one of you will make a morale test. But the last thing we're going to do is see if there is a random event chance of occurring. This is a 25% chance. If there's no event this month, it goes up to a 75% chance of an event next month. So it means that like we're almost guaranteed to have an event if you don't have one before. And that's an 8, so that is no event this month. And then that concludes our kingdom phase thing. That's all the bookkeeping done. We can get onto the fun stuff now. That's all the fun stuff.
Hey, that's fun. I like bookkeeping. Don't.
Sometimes it's a little bit of bookkeeping, just a little bit, just a little bit of numbers and a bit of stats and stuff like that. And then we get around it. And yeah, and I'm going to move us off that and put us on the more fun map of the settlement. So imagine the scene here is you've been sort of called down into Starwatch Keep. Dusk has laid out, maps and ledgers and quills, and there's piles of gold, all kind of set out. The candles have been lit, the torches have been lit, food and drink and all sorts of things are brought to you. And this kind of takes place of all the planning and all the sort of meetings that you have over the next sort of month of arranging all this stuff. You lay down the sort of plans and the purchase orders for the walls. You have Alyssa sort of draft, Alyssa and Clyve work out plans together to start going off into this new territory and claiming it for Eveningstar. But in between all of this stuff, there is still plenty of time for you guys to do whatever you guys want to do as well. There are whole weeks here where you guys could be getting up to activities and doing stuff. And this is the point where I'm going to kind of throw it over to you. I did have a couple of things maybe that we could do. You guys currently have 2 farms in Eveningstar and a blacksmith, none of which have names. I don't have any details for. And I was thinking I could roll this up. Or actually, I could throw it to you guys and say, like, why? Let's all come up with it together. And, like, do you guys have an idea of who these farms belong to? What their names are? Who's this blacksmith that works in the town? So if you guys had, like, an idea for, like, a fun or unusual NPC, you could throw that my way. And if you don't, I'll just come up with it for next week.
Where does McStonks live? Didn't we?
Well, you want McStonks for your treasurer. You haven't recruited a McStonks yet. That's going to be a big quest. I actually have a note in my Eveningstar notes of make quest to find McStonks.
Okay.
I love that McStonks, like because we haven't actually met this McStonks, right?
No, he's
We
become
all
a
just
legendary figure.
Exists.
Yeah, we just have this like internal, like primal feeling that McStonks is out there.
I
We
like
must
the
find
idea that you've heard rumors, like Dusk has come to him and been like, oh, my lord and lady, I've heard tell of this dwarven banker that's somewhere in the kingdom. He's supposed to be excellent at managing money. If only we could find him and recruit him. You've kind of heard this like a rumor quest that's come up in your quest log, and you're like, I don't know who this guy is, but I really want to find him.
It's like when you run past somebody in Skyrim and then a location gets added to your map.
Yeah. Oh, so you've heard of McStonks, have you? I've heard that he's the most trustworthy banker in all of Gormir.
No one's ever actually seen him.
Yeah.
Makes for a questionable banker.
But yeah, I do have that thing. So I mean, if you want to have McStonks the blacksmith, but I feel that would be doing you all a disservice. So
no.
I don't know if it's possible because I know
Sure.
that stable is another building, but I feel like one of the farms has to be a ranch.
Sure.
Like-
Yeah. I mean, a ranch can be lots of different animals, right? Like it doesn't just have to be horses. So yeah, we can definitely have a ranch. Yeah.
I was thinking if there's a ranch, it's not lawn ranch, it's small ranch.
Okay.
And instead of Malin, it's Talon. Wait, Talon actually exists. It's Fallon. Jimmy Fallon. And small ranch.
Making a note to myself. So
Jimmy
small
ranch.
Small
and
ranch.
Jimmy Fallon.
James Felonius.
James Felonius. Wait.
Okay, and
Does
then
that remind me of something?
Yeah. Wait.
the farmer, the kind of head farmer, is James Felonius.
Mm-hmm.
James, what race is James Felonius?
You know, I would say like a ginger elf.
Okay, yeah, okay.
You know, wears kind of a milkmaid outfit.
Ginger elf, okay.
If you happen to go up to him and like play a song on your flute that may or may not be shaped like a sweet potato.
Loves
What?
music.
I've just gone down the Legend of Zelda route here, Mon Ranch. Yeah, you know.
I am keeping all of this.
Thank you.
I am changing some of it, but
I'm keeping all of this. I'm changing some of it.
You know,
I'm
that's just the definition of my life.
maybe less specific. So rather than like you go up to them and play a few, it's they like music. So we'll just leave it at that. Cool. All right. Well, there's one. We have small ranch. Small. Small ranch. I'll name that. I'll get that changed on the map and re-upload that. But one of your farms will be called Small Ranch, and the farmer is James Felonius, who is a ginger elf, gender fluid. So they wear all sorts of different outfits. You know, you might be milkmaid outfit, might be a little green tunic. All changes.
We never know.
You never know. Yeah. All right. Cool. Any ideas for your other farm or your blacksmith? Any sort of like,
tapped out.
oh man, yeah. Wouldn't it be cool if our blacksmith was insert D&D race? Or
Pirate.
like,
Oh.
yeah. I mean, if people want a pirate blacksmith, we can have a pirate
Can we have a
blacksmith.
Kenku blacksmith?
Oh.
Okay, let's do it.
Is it your Kenku, Nate?
No.
Oh.
No. What kind of
He'd set
noise
himself on fire.
they'd have? Because Kenku have names which are based on like the noises they make, right? They normally name themselves after like a noise that they make. So it'd be like clang or clonk or something.
Or rack.
Rack. I like that.
What does that sound like?
That's like a donk to me. That's like donk.
Donk the blacksmith.
Donk.
I like
Yeah.
Donk.
Kenku blacksmith called Donk. Perfect.
Can his
All right.
full name? Can his full name be Donk Wobble? I don't know. It sounds kind of cute.
Donk Wobble.
Yeah.
That's
not his last name, right? That's like his
No,
full
that's
name.
his full name.
Yeah.
We just call him Donk.
I
Yeah.
love it. I love it.
Donk wobble.
Because it's after, like, if you hit something, it's donk wobble.
Wobble.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So,
All right.
like, when we're addressing them, we say donk wobble. But when they're saying their own name, it's actually the noise of, like...
It would be like, they'd be like, donk. Yeah, it'd be like that noise of like the bend, like a metal bar kind of like, bouncing around. I think most of Eveningstar, like the common folk, probably just call them donk. They're just like, oh, that's donk. That's the blacksmith kind of thing. But you guys,
it's just a
being
meaty
polite.
way to say duck.
Donk.
It
They're like,
donk.
hey, look, it's donk. It doesn't even, All right, cool. And then the other farm will come up with it at another point, but I think that's perfect for now. Great. Mica's gone. She's lost. We've lost her.
So you can't expect to start an episode with donk wobble and me not lose my
Listen,
shit.
Donk Wobble is a craftsman. They are an expert in their field, and they deserve our respect.
So-
Okay,
so
here,
true.
here.
So true.
Clonk. Yeah. Great. All right. Well, now I'm going to kind of throw it over to you guys. Now, this is what do you guys get up to? What's the plan? Is there anything you want to get done?
I need
You have a
to
couple of
talk
things.
to donk wobble immediately.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks, Nate. I love it. Yeah, yeah, sure. You can go speak to Donk Wobble. They've got a little quite cute little blacksmith. House is built into the sort of furnace area, connected by a little short covered passageway that's open to the elements. They've got like a little stone cottage connected to the furnace. And yeah, when you approach, you hear the sounds of, metal being sort of, bent into shape. You can hear bellows and the fire roaring. But then occasionally you do hear another slightly higher pitched, like metal noise. Like you hear a kind of like clang. And then you hear like some like ring, kind of like echoing through the other sounds of metal being, hammered around. And when you step inside, you see kind of wrapped up in a leather sort of apron, their feathers all bandaged up just in case there's any fire. So they actually have like big wraps around their wing feathers. This little raven-esque birdman, and he's currently holding something, or they're currently holding something in the furnace, and they pull it out, they dunk it into the oil, quenching it, and they pull it out. And when they look around, you can actually see that they've got a leather eye patch over one eye, just to throw in Shady's pirate element there as well.
Nice.
And he kind of looks.
I'm assuming if they've already working here, then we've probably already met. We are somewhat acquainted. Okay.
Yeah, you're somewhat acquainted. I think because you're still quite newish to Eveningstar, so you would probably know Donk Wobble the least. But yeah, you've definitely had like, arms and equipment for the soldiers. Maybe this is Clyve coming into in part of his new role as Warden, Guardian of the Den of War. And this is something you're coming to Donk Wobble for. Maybe some of the guards have like, you've noticed that they've got shoddy weapons and they need better gear or something like that.
So I'm already upset at myself. So every time Clyve will go to deal with blacksmith deals, he will kick in the door quite loudly, assuming there's a door, and cries out, "Donkey!"
You hear when you kick open the door, the little birdman sort of like he freaks out. The thing he was holding goes flying in the air. The metal clangs to the floor. And what you hear is a mixture of dog barking, cat like yowling, combined with at least 3 different individuals swearing in different voices. So you hear a kind of like, a gruff dwarf kind of like, and then some shrieking noblewoman from a posh city area, kind of like, oh, by the heavens, and sort of all this kind of thing. And then this little birdman kind of just puts their little wings on their hips and looks at you and does this. It's like,
Donkey, listen to me. It would appear I'm too open to take damage during combat. I'm a bit too squishy. I'm a walking target. I need something more solid to cover my glorious pecs.
and like tilts his head. Yeah, the donk looks at you, and they open their beak, and you hear a kind of like a dong, and you hear like a clanking sound, and they point to a series of sort of basic armor racks where they have different types, and he points at 3 types. There's like a suit of leather, a sort of like a kind of metal breastplate, and then a suit of chainmail. And Donk looks at they look at the 3 of them and gesture, and then you hear a voice, which one, dearie?
Above board, which one would actually raise my, for some reason, 15 AC?
15?
Yeah.
Well, so here's the tricky thing. Barbarians, because you have unarmored defense, you normally add your con modifier to your dex, to your AC, as well as your dex. So what's your con modifier? What's your actual bonus in your constitution?
4.
And your dexterity modifier is?
1.
Okay, so that's why it's 15. He kind of, Donk looks you up and down, and I think that actually none of the base armor is really going to help you, because I think...
Custom order.
Yeah, okay. So Donk looks at you, and you hear I better size you up. And he kind of prods over to you, and pull your arms up, or like they hold your arms up, look around you. Oh, quite the muscular form you have here.
Hey?
Clong. Makes just noises. They just make a bunch of noises at you. And goes over, finds like a piece of parchment and pulls out like a stick of chalk or like charcoal and sketches something and then turns it around to you. And it appears to be like a suit of half plate. So it's half full plate and then the rest of it's kind of like chainmail or loose leather. So it's kind of like one big armored shoulder all down one full arm, kind of covers your pectoral or chest area, but it's like a Roman skirt rather than like full metal plate greaves and things like that. So it's kind of like finding that balance. And then Clonk also taps their wing and goes bang, bang, indicating a shield. They're suggesting a shield to you.
That could work. Scared it'll slow me down.
Can bracers work as a shield? Because Clyve would look awesome in bracers.
Clyve would look awesome in bracers.
Bracers would be part of the armor for sure. Like I think this half plate would basically provide like at least a set of like thick braces, but a shield needs to be like something physically big and held. It wouldn't be able to be small. It would need to be like a much larger shield. But yeah, Donk gestures to a shield that they're working on, and it actually has, I don't think we have an emblem of Eveningstar yet. There's a space in the middle where an emblem would be, but there isn't one painted, and like points at that and sort of like holds it up against you and like gets you to, hold on to it and stuff like that.
I'll like try it out, see how it feels.
Yeah, and it's like, I mean, if you're using the longsword, you can wield that in one hand and then the shield in the other. And yeah, you can definitely see the benefits of it. And I think that giving Clyve a more sort of Roman or maybe a Grecian style armor with like the leather plated skirt and like the round hoplon shield, that looks pretty badass. Like it kind of gives you this kind of gladiator or sort of, Grecian hero Achilles kind of vibe. And I think Donk kind of looks and makes like a kind of noise at you.
I would test it out and just kind of start swinging.
It's
probably
like
knocking stuff over.
Like, yeah, as soon as you do that, Donk starts making angry like cow noise, like and just like, get out of here, get out of here.
I'll wait and see how it fails. But I want to, can I ask them to put something on the shield, like for the emblem?
Yeah, Donk nods. Donk also scratches onto. No, in fact, they could probably say this. They would point at the sketch of the armor and they would say 750 gold pieces, and then they hold up the shield. They point at the shield and would say, "How much is the shield? 10 gold pieces."
Well, I'm not sure what all that means, but I'm pretty sure that'd be fine.
Okay. Yeah. Donk looks at you and like gives you the shield, pins the sketch of armor up on their little board, and then will like offer to hold your hand and like is trying to walk you out the shop by holding your hand.
Aww.
Okay.
Yeah, they walk you to Starwatch Keep, and then they repeat that message to the Baron and Baroness. They write down, receipt for armor and shield, 760 gold, 760, and they hold it up at Tarkhal and Azara and Agnis, sorry.
I assume this was not a problem. I started saying words, and I'm not the money guy.
I mean...
But look at it! Shield.
It does look nice. And you are the warden. So we
Armor for the warrior. Armor for the warrior.
Hey, as he says.
If we buy this, we have to go do something. Like immediately. Like we have to break in the shield.
I'm equipped to do literally several somethings.
Yeah, we have some to-dos, and we could do something that will recoup. So, sister, do you think? It looks great.
What is money other than...
That's what I've been asking.
You know...
The lifeblood of our town. Yes, I understand. What is money? The thing that keeps our town together. Right.
Azara, we can make more, right?
Azara looks at Dusk and goes, we have jobs, correct?
There is still the outstanding request from Lady Braewinter. I believe that had several thousand gold pieces for the reward.
Azara will kind of knock on the shield and then turn to Donk and go, will this keep him safe?
Donk, gestures to their receipt where they've written half plate armor. Donk taps that, and it would probably say in Aaron's voice, it's kind of unsettling. You actually hear young Aaron's voice say, "Oh, Baron Tarkhal, several weeks waiting." It kind of strings together these phrases that they've heard from other people in these different voices. But yeah, it's kind of unsettling to hear Aaron's voice come out of this little blacksmith.
But the shield is done now, right?
Nods.
Okay. I mean, we do need help in the battlefield, and if this will provide us with more safety, then we'll just have to double our work, I suppose.
Wait, I'm sorry. We pay for the full armor up front before it's done?
Half now, half later.
That sounds fair.
Donk is my favorite.
You hear the
means
sound of...
in some scenario in their life, somebody said half now. And that was the
but not
entire
half
deal.
later.
That's what I was thinking.
I thought of that as I was saying it. I was like, it'd be kind of funny if they only had one half.
I want to know the lore of that transaction.
Donk opens their mouth and you just hear jingling coins. But yeah, I mean, yeah, you can pay it now, and we'll just give the gear to Clyve now, and we'll skip over the waiting time because you guys are going to be doing bits and bobs, so a couple of weeks wait won't make a big difference. So if you want to, Clyve, you can add half plate armor. So if you just add that to your inventory on your character sheet, and a shield. So half plate is a base AC of 15 plus your dex modifier, so it would be 16. And then the shield will be another 2, so your AC should be 18 when you're wearing the half plate and got the shield equipped. But it means that you can only use a weapon in one hand, so it means the longsword would do D8 damage.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Okay, let's do that.
So that's 3 points higher, so that's a significant improvement on Clive's AC at least.
Yeah, let me see here. And then nope, not okay. Alt shield. Yeah. Anyway, carry on.
And Donk won't charge you for the shield. He'll just do it for the 750.
Oh, how nice.
Good old Donk.
Aww.
Love Donk.
Yeah. I mean, and that's mainly you're paying for the materials. He's kind of not costing really labor into that as well. He's just sort of charging you a fair rate. Little Donk. Love it. Love it.
Donk is favored. Has found favor with us.
Donk wobble. Kenku
Whoever
Blacksmith.
attacked, Donk can come into the keep.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Great. They are very appreciative of that.
Many thanks, Donkey.
You see the feathers kind of get ruffled when they call them that, and he kind of smooths them down. Back to work, I guess. And then Donk leaves. But there you go. You've met
That's
Donk.
a strange one, isn't it?
I rather like him, except for when they sounded like Aaron. It was not normal.
Do you figure he's eaten the boy?
If they speak like everyone they've eaten a lot of people.
Aye, many souls consumed. We should keep an eye on that one.
Right.
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 Nobody contradicts him. We're all just too tired.
I need to try and remember things that you said to Donk so that I can say them in your voice later on.
So fun.
I will forget, but yeah.
Rippling pectorals.
Glorious
Rippling
pecs.
pectorials.
It was glorious pecs.
Keep an eye on that one. Amazing. Perfect. All right, well, that's Clyve and Donk. Was there anything else anybody else would like to do? Such as go and make some money.
I would like to make money. Me.
I would like to make money as well.
Cool. What do you guys want to do? What's the plan?
Let's go do the thing that we've been putting off.
Do the
Lady
easy
Braewinter.
thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's thousands of gold at the end of that easy thing.
Yeah. I think Azara would have called a little team meeting to discuss this because we have some loose ends to tie up, such as cleansing Lady Braewinter of her curse.
Right.
Can we do that one, Mark?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, you guys just go for it. Like, you don't. Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
Well, I imagine sometime quickly after they got back, Azara would like gather everyone over tea. Who has the lantern?
Oh, I believe Agnis does.
Mm-hmm.
The
Oh,
dark
really?
light.
Yeah.
I believe you do. The dark light. And you were the one who were tuned to it in your
Yes.
in Castle
Yes,
Braewinter.
I do. It's in my inventory because I
Nice.
am a professional Dungeons and Dragons player.
Look at us.
Look at us.
Look
at
at
us.
us.
Who would've
Who'd have thought?
Not me.
Yes, I do have the dark light.
So Agnes, as we have finished this quest and we have brought back this lantern, and Tarkhal, I believe you also have this potion of youth.
Yes, I do.
Well, first of all, we should discuss whether or not we would like to return that potion of longevity to Lady Braewinter.
What
Wasn't
exactly
it like
was
a
her deal
bonus
again?
situation? She would give us more if we brought that.
1,000 gold pieces.
Yeah. It is, if you check your little handouts on Roll20, if you have access, there is a quest, Lady Braewinter's Heirloom, and it says that, it's 4,000 gold plus 1 of 4 level advancements. So if you complete 4 of these, you get a level up. Plus 1,000 gold if you give her the potion of longevity. And there's also a hidden reward. Oh, mystery. What could that be?
I would assume it's if we cleanse her of her sins.
And is there any other reason we would not give the potion of longevity? Did someone else want it?
I don't remember.
I don't either.
I think we should give it to her. 1,000 gold sounds good.
Seeing as we are in desperate need of money,
Mhm.
I think that we should give
Thanks,
it to her.
Clyve.
Clive's just looking at his shield.
Like,
up.
You're welcome.
Shiny.
Bing.
Now, as this may ruffle some feathers, seeing as we are returning the lantern, but first we are using the lantern against Lady Braewinter herself, we should probably come up with a strategy to not cause a political kerfuffle.
What kind of strategy?
Azara looks to Clyve.
Why are you looking at
Azara
Clyve
looks-
for political strategy?
Yeah, Azara looks away from Clyve.
Bing, bing.
I'm assuming it may be best if we get her away from her guards and onlookers and get her alone to use the lantern, seeing as it is fully charged again. All we need to do is open the light on her and cleanse her of the darkness. Hopefully we won't have to fight.
What if we undertake a little ruse?
Do tell.
What if we go in, presumably to return this lantern, and we just happen to open it as we're like, here, we have your lantern. Look what it does. And oops, it shined a light on you that seemed to remove a curse. Who knew?
Azara's like really proud of Agnes's deviance right now, and she kind of like she grins and puts her hand to her chest, very proud. She's like, "I never would have thought."
It's for the greater good.
It's for the greater good, but that is beautifully devious.
Devious or honestly naive.
Whatever you want to call it, I'm very proud of you.
Thank
Now,
you.
Just so we're all on the same page, we know that she's cursed with something.
Absolutely.
Okay, and we know that she wanted this lantern not to remove that curse, right? She wanted to destroy the lantern.
Presumably.
We don't know that.
We don't know that.
What if she knows she's cursed and she wants the lantern to undo the curse? What if? But we know she's cursed. How do we know she's cursed?
Her above game, wasn't it like her descendants told us that like if she wanted it or something?
I love the idea that you guys don't know. Like, I'm not going to answer that question.
It's been like
so
Been a
long.
millennium, Mark.
Yeah.
It's been
It has
weeks
been.
for us, or
Yeah.
weeks for our characters, but
Yes,
months for us.
Months for us.
I'm control
Yes.
effing the word curse in my notes. I don't have
Yeah.
it.
Okay.
I
I,
do
there is
have in
actually
my
a
notes
reason
that
for me
we're-
not to answer that question,
Yeah.
by the way, because I don't think you ever knew whether that was the case or not. I think that this
They
is
were
all
saying something about
your
like
theory.
if they want the lantern, it can't be for good reasons. They want, something like that.
There was
so
the,
her-
her
the
descendant
mage.
said that.
It was the
Yeah.
mage who created the dark light.
Yeah.
They had fears that it could be used for ill gain, but that was just what they thought.
And I think we were saying like, just in case they are cursed, we want to cleanse it before giving it to them, just to get that out of the way.
But
That's
that's
just
that's
my
my
memory.
fear is that what if someone they care about is cursed,
Well,
and then
they'll
we
be
empty
cured
out
of
the lantern on them, and then we're gonna go back into the Shadowfell?
No,
I'm going to say removing a curse from someone is always a defensible action. Like,
Correct.
the general public is never going to be mad at us for removing a curse, right?
Also, if I remember correctly, I'm saying this as both Azara and as Mica, the curse was like mutating their mind, and also it was the way for like the shadow dragon to like
Mhm.
come into the world. So either way, removing the curse, good idea.
Mark is
Sure.
like...
Something about shadow dragons. I don't know.
There was
Here's the
a
thing.
shadow dragon. You fought that. You killed the shadow dragon. Yep.
Here's the thing. Here's the base facts, right? Whether or not someone is cursed, shining this light on them will either remove the curse or do nothing, right?
Win-win.
So
Unless they're
What
an
if-
undead
What if we
creature?
run out of light and they need it for something else?
Then they
recharges.
can wait for it to recharge. They didn't
Or
know
if they're a
it was coming
vampire.
back.
They
You don't need to
destroy
dip
them.
it in the. You don't need to dip it in the loins for it to
no,
recharge.
we already did it. We already
Oh.
tuned it and everything. We
Did
don't
you
have to
say
go back.
loins?
The water, the well, the sinking black stuff. The
Yeah, no,
ickies.
it just now
He
that
said what he said.
it's repaired
Dip
already,
it
so
in
we
the
just have to go.
loins.
You can use it as much as you want.
Okay, yeah. For some reason, my brain was like, I thought it was like a water bottle, and you got to get the special loins and put it in, but I didn't realize.
Why loins?
No,
I don't-
the loins were just for funsies.
Thank you.
All right.
We're
so
all aware that
what I'm
loins
saying
are
is,
something
Am I
else,
losing
right?
my mind? Am I going crazy?
What I'm saying is, even if we don't have any of the facts straight, here are facts we know. Returning the lantern gets us thousands of gold.
Yes.
Shining this light on somebody will either not harm them or help them, which is
Correct.
a
Unless,
win-win.
unless they're undead, in which case it will probably kill them.
And
But-
you know what? If they're undead, they're probably a spy. So fuck them anyway.
Yeah,
Exactly.
fine, that's-
And
I'm a
also,
loyalist.
in that case, we'll sell the lantern to someone else. Whoopsie.
Yeah. You know what?
Whoopsie.
Just go
Kinda-
kill the queen of another city and then just find another buyer, you know? And it's that
And
easy.
if we
Just-
kill the undead queen, we're like, that queen
Heroes.
was pretending to be a queen and they're undead. You're welcome. Give us half your kingdom.
Mhm.
Done.
Right then, let's go.
So I just feel like no more,
Yeah.
contemplation needed.
Now
Solid
that
plan.
I know that we don't need any extra loins to charge the lantern, we're fine. Now that I know this.
It's
Target.
a woodsman thing. It's like a woods people thing. They call water loins for some reason. We make it
you
part of
really
the canon.
need
We
to
make
start
it part of the
updating
canon.
your slang, brother.
Gotta quench that thirst with some tasty loins.
Man, God, I'm just so thirsty for loins right now.
Okay. Dungeons and Dragons.
Dungeons
Thank you.
and Dragons.
Thank you for your sponsorship, Wizards of the Coast.
Whoopsie.
Right. Forgot about that. Okay.
Loins.
Welcome back.
All right.
So we're going to Queen Huzmaboth, right?
No, so
Who's
you
my
are
bobs for her loins?
Lady Bannifer?
Lady Vanifer, who is in the city of Arabel, which is the big city neighbor. You've been to Arabel. It's where you went and you had the dinner where you got attacked and
we got the cool
Duspasakuda
onesies.
amused her and you got the cool onesies. Sure. You did actually get cool onesies, I think. Yeah.
Something more important happened there, Mr. Mark.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Tell
Willow
us.
Song.
Yeah,
I met
there you go.
Willow Song for the first time.
You are.
Willow Song for the first time.
It's kind of getting.
I'm craving wines all of a sudden now that we brought it up. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, mommy. Sorry.
Mommy,
Mommy.
All right. Anyway, you threw me off, man. You threw me off.
Go ahead.
So, the city of Arabel. It's a couple of days. It's like 2-3 days travel from Eveningstar. It's not a problem for you guys to travel there.
Can I
You don't
take a
have any-
Tresem bodyguard?
You may take a Tresem. Yes, you can take at any point. You can request
King
a Tresem.
I asked King One Eye who he would recommend to accompany me as a personal guard.
Yes, of course. Yes, and he says that their name is White Sock, and they have little white feetsies. They are a black cat with little white feetsies, with little black wings with little white tips. And yeah, White Socks is sent with you as a bodyguard to keep to the shadows, to kind of watch over you.
But sometimes, like weaving in and out of my feet, and like rubbing against my leg. Yeah.
Yeah, or just flying up and like draping
Perching on my
itself
shoulder.
across over your shoulders. Yeah, Tresem are quite big. They're not. They're like big cats. These are like big Maine Coon sort of like drape over your shoulder kind of cats.
Lasagna grown, right?
Yeah, lasagna. Yeah.
Cool.
Oh man, King One Eye really hates Mondays. Anyway.
I'm adding White Sock to my allies.
Yep, sure. And you can, if you want to get the stats up for a Tresem, Anna, you can just have Tresem stats, and then I'll let you do what you want with.
And I let White Sock know that it's not just about me. They are the personal guard for the party.
Right. Okay. Nice. White Sock just nods. Very, very quiet, silent type. Weird that. Anyway. Arabel is a bustling city. You've been here before. This is like a grand city of Cormyr. Banners are strung up high. The streets are packed and full of people, and you have an address. It's not hard to locate the home, the estate of Vanifer Braewinter. In fact, actually, why don't you guys make let's have everybody just do a general charisma check. So just D20 plus charisma. Let's see like maybe how much information you pick up on this person as you travel. And I'll definitely say some stuff for free for Azara, because Azara would kind of know the political workings of the cities.
You said just plain charisma, right?
Just plain charisma, I think, yeah, rather than like, or maybe history, if you prefer. If it is either your general knowledge.
History.
Yeah, if you want to do history, because that would be more your just knowledge of noble families, whereas charisma would be like speaking to people, like asking directions. Oh, do you know anything about this Lady Vanifer? Blah, 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 kind of stuff.
Do I get to roll both and keep the best?
No, you pick one and roll.
Because you know what's hilarious is I first rolled charisma, which is +2, and I got 13, and I was like,
Lovely.
Surely I should roll history. For in history, I have +6, and then I rolled a nat 1.
Lovely. So that's a 7. Brilliant. Anybody? What did everyone else get?
23.
23 charisma.
I got 22 history.
22 history. Clyve.
Well, to be fair, sorry, my both my charisma and history modifiers are +4, so I rolled a 19. So
yeah, I think it makes sense for Tarkhal to be more like asking, like, "Oh, we're looking for this place. Do you know about this noblewoman?" And then people just find you likable and kind of talk and gossip and stuff. Whereas with Azara, I think this is more knowledge of like noble lineages and families and the history of Cormyr and stuff like that. But you actually kind of get the same information from two different sources. First of all, Lady Vanifer's estate is it's very well funded. It's quite a rich estate. It's the Braewinter family has lots of money, but they are recluses, and they have always been recluses. They very rarely mingle with other nobles. Generally, only to find marriages, to arrange marriages, come to the occasional party, the occasional evening, but generally very reclusive. There's one of the big rumors about their estate is it's always like they've never seen the curtains open. It's always dark inside. They only ever see the dragonborn wizard who you'd met, the sort of mage who works for Lady Vanifer, Melodonus. They've only ever seen them come and go. They don't see anybody else. And with such high checks as well, you know that whilst previously the Braewinter family have kind of, done things like arranged marriages, and they do occasionally come out for social gatherings, mainly in the evening, Lady Vanifer has never left the estate. She has never come out. She's never gone to social gatherings. She's not looked for marriage. She's not looked for husbands or wives. She has just stayed in that place. But there is still money coming in and out of the estate somehow. They fund a lot of arts programs around Arabel. They fund a lot of, public works and things like that. They sponsor several schools in the city as well. But yeah, it's kind of a bit of a mystery, like one of those kind of, eccentric noble families that everybody has gossip and rumor about. There's all sorts of rumors. Yeah, there's tons of rumors. Like, there are literally people saying, oh, yeah, she's 100% a vampire, by the way. People who go into that place have never come out again. I've seen her flying through the air at night. She's some sort of witch. There's all these kind of like ridiculous ones. There are people saying that she has a disease, that she has this rare medical condition, which means she can't leave. People saying that she's made dark pacts with devils from the 9 hells. All of everything and anything you can imagine people think about this place.
Watch every like minor offhanded rumor is actually completely true.
Oh yeah,
maybe
so nonchalantly
vampire
said.
devil.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Witch, vampire, devil, worshipping warlock, disease, mummy,
Flying
lady.
through the air.
Yeah. But you guys track down the estate, and the one thing that strikes you is immediately is like, the one thing that was true is there's every single window is heavily curtained that you can't see inside. The estate is surrounded by a tall iron fence. The gardens are well kept, but pretty barren. Like this place looks, you would almost assume that it was abandoned or for sale, but it's kept in really good condition, sort of thing. It just kind of sits in a quiet part of the city. There are no businesses around it. It's kind of on its own, surrounded by a small garden. And it's generally ill kept. And the gates, the kind of big iron gates that surround the estate are locked, but there is a sort of little bell which is attached to the outside by the main gates.
Ding, 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 ding.
Okay, yeah. Agnes just rings it. And after a few moments, you see the door, which is maybe sort of a good sort of 20, 30 feet beyond this fence. The door opens and a well-dressed, robed, black dragonborn, which you recognize as Melodonus. This is the one who contracted you before.
We're best friends.
Purple robes. Yeah, you kind of got on really well with him. Purple robes. Has like a cowled hood with like runic trimmings all around it. Wears like a circlet around his head. Looks very professional and regal. Comes out, you can see a wand hanging from his leather belt. And he just kind of comes out, walks over to the gate. He waves a hand and the gates open. Ah, our esteemed adventurers and nobles from Eveningstar. My lady and I have been anxious to hear of your endeavors. It's been some time. You are all well, I hope.
Very well, thank you.
Licks his eyeball. I'm very pleased to hear that. Obviously, I am a little concerned. I mentioned that I was concerned about Braewinter's nature, the castle ruin. You must tell me what you found. I'm quite fascinated.
Perhaps Azara could regale you with tales of our adventures as you lead us to an audience with your mistress, where we could pass on this valuable heirloom.
Of course. Do you have it? May I see it?
I feel we must present it directly to your mistress.
I understand. I must verify it is the correct item in check, and that it does indeed possess the magical properties.
Open it to and I show him inside my cloak.
First thing he does is he reaches into his robe, and he pulls out a tiny pair of spectacles, which he balances on the end of his long dragon snout, and they kind of pinch onto the sides. And he sort of like peers. I do apologize. I'm not trying to be rude, madam, but I must. Let me see here. May I hold it? It will be for a brief moment, I assure you. There's no duplicity.
You must understand, we've spent so much time retrieving this that it's difficult for me to let it go, but here.
Thank you. Yes, of course, I understand. Yes, you must have risked. There must be a tremendous risk delving into such a room now. And he kind of turns it over. Oh, yes. He casts a spell. Azara, it is Identify. You would recognize it. He casts Identify, and you see his draconic eyes shimmer. They almost become like prisms. Yes. This is indeed the relic that I thought it was. Excellent. And he hands it back to you, Agnis. He says, like,
thank you.
My good nobles and adventurers. What a marvelous thing you have done. This is most welcome, and indeed, to find it in such a state, completed and brimming with power. My lady will be very pleased. Now, come, let me see you inside. There are some things that perhaps I should warn you about. The interior of the mansion is kept in perpetual darkness. I must ask you to extinguish any light sources that you have upon you. They are quite painful for my lady to
Why is that?
behold. The nature of the request. As you have no doubt gathered yourselves, this lantern is capable of undoing powerful magics and curses. And such a curse has befallen my lady. I'm afraid that I did not wish to tell you before you required the lantern for fear of scandal. But yes, it has kept her within these walls, and she cannot bear the touch or the sight of any light. Even the dimmest candle cannot be lit. If you cannot see within the dark, I see that most of you possess some form of elven heritage. But you, sir, and he gestures to Clyve, can you see in the dark, sir?
What a great question. I should know off the top of my head.
I imagine that one would normally, yes. Beyond your senses, you can. Marvelous. I do have a spell that I can enable once in the dark, but it seems that it is not needed. But yes, I must ask you to keep any light sources diminished and extinguished.
She wants this lantern in order to undo a curse on her?
That was the belief, yes. It's why we sent you there in the first place. My lady spent a considerable amount of gold researching it with various arcane practitioners, as well as students of the gods, priests and priestesses. And after many years, she found that the answer to her problem was this creation, this lantern created by one of her ancestors to undo this curse that has lingered upon the Braewinter family.
I kind of, as I'm hearing this, I kind of do a meaningful look to Azara, like, all right, I mean, if they want to remove the curse themselves.
Azara will put a hand on Melodonus' shoulder and, like, give him kind of like a dragon to dragon, sorcerer to sorcerer look, like, and in Draconic, she'll say, Melodonus, seeing as our dear Baroness is already attuned to said lantern, and seeing as we have unfortunately witnessed the severity of what this darkness can turn one into, I think it might be best if Agnis is the one to lift the curse. She does already know how to use said lantern. She has already wielded said lantern, and it may also be wise to use the element of surprise. I know that the request was to lift the curse, but if the curse may take over your lady, there may be a fight.
You need not fear, Magister. And I do apologize. He speaks to the rest of you in common. He's like, I do not wish to appear rude. But I do appreciate, Magister, that you would speak in my tongue. But I do not wish to be appear rude or secretive to your friends. Let me assure you of something. The curse that has befallen my lady is of no danger to any of you. It is problematic for her. It has caused her no end of shame and social issues, but it is of no harmful matter. Whatever you faced in that awful place, I can only imagine, but the curse itself, I can assure you, is of no danger to you. If Lady Agnis, Baroness Agnis, has already utilized the power of the Dark Light, and if you are familiar with its workings, then yes, of course, please use it upon my lady, but I would ask no element of surprise. She will wish to speak with you herself as well. You will be able to witness her condition, and she will tell you all about it. I'm sure now that you have presented her with the solution she has spent so long looking for, she will be very pleased to hear it.
It will be my honor.
Thank you. Yes, indeed. And Magister, please, if you feel otherwise, if you wish to examine my lady with any of your impressive magical talents, you are indeed a magister of Cormier, and I am but a lonely mercenary wizard. Please do so. I'm more than happy for you to do so, and I can assure my lady that you mean no harm. And if there are any other concerns, Baron, great warrior, Clyve.
No, I think this all adds up.
I'm just here to hit stuff when I'm told to.
Well, I would appreciate it if you would hold on such urges, my good man, my good lion man. But yes, please, come. We have delayed far too long. I've let my tongue flaps. I'll continue for far too long. He opens the door with he opens the door with a gesture, and you see that inside this house, it is pitch black. Your dark vision kind of takes over. Everything becomes sort of black and white, shades of black and white. When you all step inside, Merylonus clicks his talons, and an unseen servant, a kind of shimmering field of force, and he gestures for it. He simply says, go and prepare the waiting room for our guests. I will fetch her ladyship. Please, my friends, this way. And he gestures, and he leads you into a kind of very lovely parlor, very well decorated, the kind of thing that you might expect a very rich and elegant noblewoman to have. There are, beautiful chairs with cushions and a table. You see this kind of invisible force bring over a tray of tea with various cups and things like that, and kind of begins pouring cups and things like that and preparing everything. And just basically makes the room ready. Melodonus will lead you in there and then say, I will be but a moment to fetch your ladyship. Please make yourselves comfortable. And he steps off. Very unsettling. Just the way everything about Melodonus is he's very sinister in everything he does, but apart from the his actual intentions. But the way he moves, he kind of looks like a villain. He's got his shoulders hunched, his claws are constantly flexing. He licks his eyeballs. He constantly has his fangs out, little bits of acid dribbling down his chin. But just very weird, very odd fellow. He kind of makes his way off, and you guys have a few moments alone here. You've got you don't know how long he's going to be, but you're alone for now, apart from this ghost that seems to be serving tea.
I ask White Sock to just kind of take a look around. They can detect invisibility. They have super awesome sense of smell. They can detect poison. So just are
you using speak with animals, or are you just telling them this in normal speech? Because they all understand you, but I just want to know if they can talk back.
If they can understand me, I just say it.
Okay, they look around, they kind of look at you, slow blink like cats do, and then they'll just slip off. That's a 28 for their stealth check, so they just vanish.
Cool.
And start sneaking around.
I assume that maybe I've worked out with the Tressums that if they need to speak to me, there's they scratch and meow or lift a paw or something like that.
Because they're pretty intelligent. They could probably do things they would come up and tap on your leg 3 times, and that means I want you to speak, cast a spell, basically. Mm-hmm. They would understand that that's what you're doing. So cool. We have a gesture for that. But just White Sox slinks off. You don't see him again. He just vanishes. Like cats do, especially in this place, which is, you guys are all in black and white vision. So actually, White Sox is nearly invisible to your eyes. Being black and white, you really struggle to see them. They just vanish. Most of you can't see what colors are in this place. It is just pitch black in here. Only through your dark vision can you see anything. Anything from anyone else? Again, it's been a couple of minutes.
I think if it's been a couple minutes, I just have my Kiss of Silver kind of unsheathed slightly, unnerving, and just trying to be aware of what I can see.
Yeah, sure, okay. Make a perception check for me then. Let's just see what you pick up on, kind of thing.
Oh, that's a natural 1. So
you get distracted by something. Probably White Sox brushes past your leg, and you'll sort of get distracted.
It goes to 8 if that helps at all.
I mean, it does a little bit, but it's still pretty low. But
okay.
So. You don't notice anything. You notice about the same time as everybody else. You hear Melodonus's clawed feet rapping on the floorboards, followed by kind of the soft swooshing of fabric. And Melodonus walks in with a lady on his arm, so sort of holding his arm out as if walking, a bride down the aisle, or a noble woman to a dance. A woman dressed I mean, to you, it appears that she's wearing very dark fabrics, kind of all clothed in. She's veiled, so she has like only really her eyes visible. Big sort of like veil down her face, kind of covering over her lower jaw, dressed in very elegant, fine, noble clothing. She appears to be wearing some jewelry, but not a lot. And as soon as he leads her into the parlor, he takes her to one of the sort of larger chairs, sits her down, and then he bows to her, and then takes a step back, so he stood behind her, basically. Azara, you notice that Melodonus, and I don't think that you would see this as an aggressive thing, but you can see his talons are ready to spellcast. Like, he basically has got himself into a defensive, like, just in case, like, he just is, like,
Towards
holding his
us
hands,
or
like...
towards her?
You don't know. He stood behind her. It could be to her, it could be to you guys, but he's basically, like, holding his hands, like a spellcaster would, who was, like... you would be, if you were sort of, like, wary, you would hold your hands as I'm like not in your pockets, not like behind your back, like you are ready to bring them, and somatic gesture and stuff like that. But
I take a step forward and bow courteously, and I say, "My lady, it is our honor to have retrieved your family heirloom, and if it is to your pleasure, it would be my honor to use it to remove the curse that we now know is upon you."
She looks at you, and you see sort of her eyes glisten, as if maybe glazed with something. And you hear this kind of voice, very hoarse. She sounds maybe in her like 60s, and like you can see like fine wrinkles around her eyes and things like that. You just hear, "No, Baroness Crownsilver, the honor is all mine. I apologize for not standing and bowing in your presence, but as you have gathered, this curse has done many things, and one of which is to rob me of much of my physical strength. It is my honor. I, for so long, have sought a cure for the curse that has lingered and clutched to my family. And it is only in the last few years that I learned of the lantern, of the dark light, and I have struggled to find those brave enough to venture into the ruins. I am so very grateful that you and your companions did so. I know that you must have been at great risk. I do not know exactly what you faced there, but I can only imagine some of the horrors. And if you believe that this lantern can undo this curse upon me, I would be eternally grateful, and I will make sure that you are handsomely rewarded."
May I ask, how did this curse come upon you, and what has it done to you?
Yes, of course. You deserve the truth of all of that, at least. It is a secret that we have harbored within the Braewinter family for centuries, ever since the tragedy that befell the castle. It manifests from a very young age. Our shadows disappear at a young age, and when that happens, we find light to become extremely painful. When I was younger, I could withstand a candlelight. It was painful and uncomfortable, but I could endure it for a brief period of time. But as I have become older and weaker, even the smallest, dimmest glow causes me endless pain, as if my skin is on fire. It has robbed me of much of my physical strength, and yes, it has forced me into this life of seclusion. It has followed our family ever since. Well, you must know now of the tragedy that befell Castle Braewinter and the magics that were being summoned there by my ancestor. It has clung to those who survived, those who managed to flee the castle before the spell plague hit, somehow tied to our bloodline. I do not know the exact nature of it. The mages and the priests that I've hired have claimed that it is due to my ancestors meddling with planar powers, transmitted through simply by blood, connecting to us like a chain through the eons.
I kind of glance at Azara when she says that, just to be like, does that sound reasonable?
Does that sound reasonable, Mark?
You can make an Arcana check for me.
I would love to do that.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
26.
26. It is certainly within the realm of possibility. You know, having been to Castle Braewinter and also learning about the Spell Plague caused a lot of weird shit in the realms. Like, there was a lot of things that happened that defy all previous knowledge of magic, or fundamental understanding of how spells work that happened because of the Spell Plague. That combined with the noble who was meddling with the Shadowfell in the first place and, infusing it into, like, themselves and their, noble bloodline. This is in the realms of possibility. It's very rare, but it's certainly possible, what she's saying.
Then Azara will just give like a subtle nod.
Mm-hmm.
I say, well, it is a pleasure then to do anything we can to release you from this suffering. And I pull out the lantern and I say, may I?
Yeah, you see her eyes go wide when you actually reveal the lantern, and she almost like brings her hand up to her veiled mask, and she just, after so long, Melodonus, after so long, it's here. And the dragon mage just takes, his hands away from himself and he puts a hand on her shoulder. It will be a pleasure to see you finally rid of this curse, my lady. And then he will step away so that she's the only one sort of in the area of effect from the lantern. He'll come and stand next to Agnis. And yeah, Lady Vanifer just is like, please.
Instead of how we expected, where it's like, oh, whoops, I kind of like reverently and gently open the door of the light and let it shine out. Mm-hmm. And just a bright white light shines. And then what I have to do is just mentally give it intention. And I give it the intention of it ceasing the curse.
Okay.
Removing the curse.
So you watch for the first time, this room is bathed in light as the lantern opens, and you're all, your dark vision is almost, you're blinded for like a brief second as your dark vision has to switch back to normal. And you do hear Lady Vanifer like gasp in pain, like, and you see her like completely blind. And you see now that she's dressed in clothing, but the colors are all kind of mismatched. Like, it looks like she's, it's all been bought for her, but like her dress and her gloves don't match in color. She's obviously just put them on in the dark, right? And she's a human; she can't see in the dark, so she's just been completely, mismatched. The room itself, all the furniture is mismatched. Like, it's kind of strange to see this, in the darkness, in black and white. It was very elegant and monochrome. Now it's just this kind of confused color, and you see her skin does begin to burn ever so slightly as soon as the light touches it, and it begins to turn red and blister. And there's no shadow. At first, when you cast the lantern on her, she has no shadow whatsoever. The chair that she sat in does, everything around her does, but she herself has no shadow. And then as the lantern is in your hand, it begins to pulse and glow, and you feel it grow warm in your hands, Agnis, and you begin to see a new shadow almost growing out of her. So it begins to kind of stretch out as if growing out from her for the first time, as if a light had been cast and then slowly tilted upwards to kind of create this shadow. And as it does, you begin to see the burning of her skin begins to die down. You can see color kind of return to her cheeks. She was very pale and pallid before, and like color begins to return to her cheeks. She stops kind of like seemingly to be in pain, just weeping, just tears flowing down her cheeks, staining this kind of face mask that she pulls free, and you can see just this very sort of dry, weathered, wrinkled face, and like as if she's breathing in for the first time, just and then eventually the light fades, the lantern sort of stops, and yeah, you are all once again returned to darkness, but you just hear this voice just like, I think it's done. Melodonus clicks his talons and a glowing orb fills the room with light, and you all see, and she like blinks a few times and you can see she's struggling in the light, but Lady Vanifer like looks at her hands. I didn't realize that they were red, these gloves. And she begins taking them off, and she's like stretching her hands, and yeah, you can see that she's, a 60-year-old human woman, looks kind of frail, as if she's been housebound for a long time, but yeah, she just kind of looks down and you can just see like just tears pouring down her face. And
Agnis is also kind of misty-eyed, and she kind of doesn't know what to say, so she just steps forward and gently offers the lantern.
Lady Vanifer takes it and just like hugs it to her chest.
Azara will say, we also have the other item you requested, my lady? And she'll gesture to Tarkhal.
She chokes up and she's like, truly, I thought it something of a silly request to ask you for it. But I've lost so many years bound in this house by myself. My parents and my grandparents, they almost, quite dismally, they almost tricked their partners, their husbands, their wives into marriages, not knowing about the nature of the curse, to prolong their line in some way. And I couldn't bring myself to do it. I couldn't bring myself to make another suffer in the same way I had. The idea that maybe I can regain some of those years, that I may yet live some. I doubt I will be young enough to have children, but I feel I could go out into the world, see more of it, so much that I've not experienced. If you have it, I would be so ever so grateful.
Yeah, Tarkhal will just silently pull it out and bring it over to her and hand it to her.
She takes it. Melodonus is like, my lady. And he'll just take it, casts Identify, and then he passes it back to her. He's like, indeed.
Does she look like
Forgive
she needs
me.
healing?
No, she doesn't look like, well, I think that you would know that maybe something like, there's probably like some element of like greater restoration would be useful, like just for like physical strength, but like no wounds or anything like that. Like her energy is fine.
Gotcha.
It's just that she's basically been living in this house by herself for forever in darkness. Like she looks like she's like deficient, you know? She's very pale, very physically weak, but yeah, nothing that like exercise and good diet probably won't fix in the long run.
Does she have, you said like she's dressed nicely, but it's mismatched and she kind of dreams of going out. Does she have any like nice jewelry on?
Yeah, she's got like beautiful gems, but again, it's like she's wearing like an emerald necklace with like a blue dress and then red gloves, and like because she was just picking stuff in complete darkness and putting it on, right? So it's all kind of mismatched.
If she's wearing an emerald necklace, I think Azara will, like, moved by the fact that she's going to go out and live her life, will take an emerald bangle off of her wrist and put it on the lady's wrist and say, well, if you're going to go out, you must have something that matches. And just for me, I hope you'll wear this on your first night out on the town. And she'll just kind of pat her wrist.
Far too kind of you, Magister. Thank you. That is perhaps if anything, you can, if you have the time before you head back to Eveningstar, perhaps you could come and help me organize my wardrobe a little. It does seem that I have become a bit too used to dressing in the dark. But if it's all right, I would like to partake in this now.
Zara like gasps and gets really excited.
Yeah.
And she's like, I would be honored, my lady.
She nods, but she pops this potion, and yeah, she's just going to drink it straight away. Like, you know, you've given it to her. And you watch as, yeah, like she probably, in fact, I'm just going to maximize the effect because normally it's random, but I think for story-wise, I'm just going to max it. You watch as, yeah, she grows like at least 10, maybe 12 years younger. Like you just watch the skin firm, you watch like strength return to her a little bit. You know, she kind of like she fills out the dress a bit more where like she's shrunk in like a little bit of age and frailty. And yeah, like she probably go from being about 60 to yeah, like 45, 47ish. So yeah, like a significant sort of change to her life really. And she just looks like completely amazed. Like she just looks like she's about to burst into tears, but also jump for joy. Melodonus, it's hard to tell, but you think he's smiling because he has like this big like, yeah. And he's just like, well, I do believe that these very kind, young, brave individuals are deserving of their appropriate payment, my lady. Should I include the other item you mentioned? Yes, Melodonus, most certainly. They have given me far more than I could have ever dreamed. Very well. And he clicks his talons again, and you watch as a big gilded chest kind of appears on the ground. He opens it, and he begins pulling things out of it. He pulls out what appears to be several, in fact, it would be 5 bars of platinum. They are worth 1,000 gold each, so 5,000 gold. And he lays them down like these 5 bars. He places them on like this little dainty coffee table. He slides those towards you. 4,000 for the return of the dark light and 1,000 for the potion of longevity. I believe that this should be sufficient, my good friends. My lady would also like to offer you this. Perhaps it will not be as useful, but I am to understand that Castle Braewinter lies quite close to Eveningstar. Historically, Castle Braewinter and its surrounding lands belong to the Braewinter family. But this, and he places a ancient-looking document, like a scrolled document. These are the deeds to Castle Braewinter's lands and the castle itself. I understand it is a ruin, and perhaps maybe, well, I suspect you have cleared it of whatever malign forces remained there. But if you would wish it, we bequeath this to you, Baron and Baroness, Magister, Warrior Clyve. This will be of more use to you than it will be to my lady. A ruin that holds too many bitter memories. And it is a scroll of deed. It is a scroll of decree that the area, like Castle Braewinter and the land surrounding it, are property of whoever bears this document. And you can, Azara, you know that you can basically report this to the crown and say, yo, we got this. This ours now.
Agnis will say, I accept this gift of your family's heritage with solemnity and the respect that it is due, and I thank you. And I promise that those in our kingdom who make use of this land and this gift will know its origins.
I hope that you include, I can tell you of the many good parts, but perhaps we best leave out the evil shadow magic that has infested my family. But see this, I have no use for it. The Braewinter family rebuilt themselves here in Arabel. We have good standings within the city. I have money. The land itself was nothing but a dark memory and something of a bitter reminder of the folly of my ancestors. I fully believe that yourself, Baron, Magister, good lion warrior, I believe that you will put it to good use, and I wish for you to have it. And I hope that this money will go some ways into helping you rebuild or establish it, or perhaps develop your settlement that I hear such good things about as well. We often hear of Eveningstar's growth. I should perhaps warn you that there are some nobles here in Arabel who are a little jealous of the progress that you have made with it. But you will always have a friend in myself and in the Braewinter family, and if there is any help that I can offer in the future, you will have it. I do not have military, I do not have any resources of that nature, but I have some money and I have contacts, and if I can ever be of use.
Speaking of our families forever being bonded, my uncle Bryn Crownsilver does tend to be in Arabel this time of year, if you're looking to meet someone.
That is very sweet of you, young Agnis. I remember a series of rumors not too long ago that your uncle had something of a rather serious relationship with a tiefling woman, a pair of twins, if I'm not mistaken. There was a whole kerfuffle with Queen Raedra and a battle against a dragon and an invading army. He's something of a bit of a hero, and I'm afraid that I wouldn't want to get on the wrong side of any of those involved individuals. He was betrothed to the Queen, you know. He was betrothed to the Queen herself. He was in line for the crown, turned it down to go off adventuring.
I totally knew that.
Well, I mean, maybe you didn't, right? Maybe you've always just known him as fun Uncle Bryn, but like maybe this side of thing hasn't come up. But if
he
you would
sounds very cool.
If you would like to learn more about your Uncle Cryn Brownsilver, you can read the excellent book series by Aaron M. Evans, which is in the Forgotten Realms, the Faraday and Havilar series.
I was just feeling so good about having written down Uncle Bryn Crownsilver at the ball in Arabel, and I was like, who do I know in Arabel?
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, he's she maybe this is like a thing you're like, what? He was in line for the crown. He was an adventurer, and yeah, she can tell you that he used to, he was off adventuring with a dragonborn warrior and 2 tieflings, and they fought like an army and all this kind of stuff. And yeah, maybe that's exciting news for you.
Yeah, maybe that's someone that I need to learn more about as a noble gone adventurer.
Yeah, but Lady Vanifer is very, very pleased with you, and if there's anything else that you would like to do or say or catch up on, or
Lady Vanifer, you said you you have money and you have contacts.
I do.
If you ever hear of a McStonks, we've heard a rumor of this banker.
Yes, a dwarf banker. He's quite exclusive. He works with noble families to manage their finances. I believe that perhaps my great grandfather. He's been around a long time. Dwarves obviously live long lifespans. My great grandfather brought him in to help manage the Braewinter funds. It's one of the reasons that we are such a successful financial noble house now to this day. If I remember, the last time I heard of Moxtonks, he would have been likely working in the capital in Suzail. I imagine that he has ties to the crown there. But he's something of an eccentric individual, always looking for the next big venture, always looking for the next big challenge, the big investment, he calls it.
All right, well, knowing that he's in the capital and that he is looking for opportunity...
Would you like me to try and reach out to him? I have
that
some
would be,
contacts.
Yes, if you could let him know that Eveningstar is cooking up something magical, and he might want to be involved.
Very well. I will see what I can do. That is honestly the least of what I can do. Thank you.
10 points for Shady.
Yeah, no, I love it. In fact, I'm gonna give me a moment. I am gonna put in my notes here.
And let him know that we will be going to the moon. I heard that means something to
McStonk's quest update. I will. You have seeded an element here that will have a return for you.
Phenomenal.
So you can have that for sure.
It's in my notes. Suzail McStonks. Next big thing.
Azara will turn to the rest of the crew before we, I'm assuming as we walk out the door, and she'll say, now that we're on a roll when it comes to making a little bit of coin for ourselves, I think it may be within our best interest to swing by that abandoned silver mine, possibly take stock of what it would take to clear said mine out. I know that bringing in some silver regularly would be very good for the kingdom.
I like it.
I agree.
I go,
may I?
And I call the Tressum.
Yeah. White Sox comes back, and you can see it has a dead mouse in its mouth. It looks at you very proudly.
Is it all right if my Tressum takes this mouse?
Yes, in fact, I believe it is doing me a favor by doing so.
Well
Melodonus is like, that is the little bastard that I've been chasing around this house for weeks. Finally, it seems to have made his match. May I add as well, if you require fast transportation back to Eveningstar, I'm more than happy to oblige. If you are ever in need of a mercenary wizard who is capable of certain magical feats, I am, of course... available for employment on a mercenary basis. Of course, I will continue to work with my lady here, but I do know some little teleportation magics. I can transport you around the realms if required. I've traveled quite a lot in my time. Or if there is knowledge of magical relics that you seek, or certain spells of powerful levels, do let me know.
Well, that is a lot of useful things that just came out of your mouth.
Yeah, we will keep all of that in mind.
Do not worry, my boy. The Magister understands of what I speak.
Above game, Mark, is that one of those things that will have to come around during the next kingdom phase to hire him?
So think of him as a sort of if you guys are like, hey, we want to teleport somewhere in the Forgotten Realm. If you guys were like, we want to go to Neverwinter for something, and you need somebody to teleport you there, Melodonus will do it for you. He'll just teleport you where you want to go. Think of him as your go-to kind of high-level mage. He can cast up to 7th level spells.
Oh, nice.
On occasion. He'll still need to travel to Eveningstar and take you there and stuff like that. But yeah, think of him as a go-to mage that if you do have a need for a high-level spell, or if you want to have someone cast something like Legend Lore or Scrying or something, anything that Azara can't do, Melodonus is somebody that you can reach out to, and he'll come visit Eveningstar and do it for you. Basically.
Yeah.
Cool.
And if you wanted a magic item, something, or you wanted something enchanted, Melodonus might be somebody who can do that or would know somebody. He's think of him as a contact. Think of him as a magical contact for cool magic stuff.
Cool.
That Azara doesn't have access to already. So
as we're leaving, I'll put a big paw on the lady's shoulder. If you're ever needing fashion advice, teeth go with everything.
Teeth go with everything. I will remember that, my good man.
I reach into my mane and I thumb out a necklace, and there's just one tooth on it.
Oh, what was that from? Is that a beast that you have slain, or one of your own, or what? Whose tooth is that?
It was someone very special to me.
Oh, that's very sweet. Oh, that's very delightful. Well, thank you.
It looks amazing.
It does. You cut quite the figure. If I only had another potion of longevity. And she kind of smiles at you. Yeah,
Hey, well, off we go then.
indeed. Thank you all once again so much. And she'll just nod. And yeah, you guys can either stay in Arabel. It's easy to just stay here and catch carriage or horses back. Or if you want, Melodonus is like, I will take you back immediately if you require it.
You trying to go right to that mine?
Yeah, can he drop us off that mine?
Eveningstar, I know. I could take you to Eveningstar. Trying to pick a location that I'm unfamiliar with could have consequences.
Are we closer to Eveningstar right now or to the mine?
Yeah.
You are closer to Eveningstar. Like, the mine is like a couple of hours north of Eveningstar. Arabel is like several days from Eveningstar.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Let's have him take us home then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Melodonus will just be like, well, if you would accompany me, I will take you to my chamber where I have a teleportation circle prepared. And he takes you up into the estate and he leads you into a rather impressive Azara. Maybe there's a little bit of like, ooh, because he takes you into an impressive wizard sanctum. You can see that the shelves are lined with books. He actually has a giant, half-complete young dragon skeleton. It looks like it's missing the lower half. It's just got like the top half and like one of the wings. Yes, the pride of my collection. One of the ancient dragons who once attacked Cormyr. I'm trying to collect all of the pieces, but despicably difficult to come across all of them. I'm very lucky to have what I have already.
Azara will look up at it and be like, do you know the name of this beautiful creature?
Yes, indeed. This indeed. This was young Scorchbringer, a young red dragon that once attacked Cormyr in the time of Thaugalor, the Merciless, bane of the Cormyrian Knights. But yes.
If we had more time, I would love to discuss him with you, but maybe next time.
Well, let me fetch you something, Zara. And he finds you a small stone.
Ooh.
He says, perhaps we can keep in touch with this. We can exchange notes and discuss magical theories. It is always good to have another friend within the industry. And it's just like a sending stone.
Yay!
It's like a half of a sending stone to him. So you can, once a day, you can have a little text message with Melodonus.
Oh my God. Adorable.
Text homie. But yeah, he'll just give you like one half of a sending stone and just be like, yes, I have a few of them for my close acquaintances, of which I would like to consider you one.
Azara will hold it close and she'll be like, absolutely, Melodonus, and I look forward to discussing magic with you.
You are too kind. If you could see a black dragon blush, you would see me blush. Unfortunately, you can't. Still, let us join hands. And he leads you to a circle, and he offers his two giant talons. He says, if we join hands, I will cast a teleportation circle and teleport us to Eveningstar.
Hold hands.
Hold hands.
Who's holding the Dragon Man's hands, though?
I'll do
hold
it.
on side.
I'll just grab one.
Yeah, like, Clyve, his hands are, like, as big as yours, and, like, his talons are as long as yours as well. So, like, and, like, you've got, like, to him, it's like, oh, how strange, because it's all fur, but for you, it's, like, cold, hard scales, and it just feels kind of strange. It's like gripping a lizard's hand. Whereas Azara, like, yeah, you feel like all the scales and, like, the cold hand and, yeah, the big talons. Your hand is quite delicate, I imagine, in sort of, like, the palm of it almost. But, yeah, you kind of gather up, and in a flash, you will feel this kind of surge of color and light around you, and in an instant you find yourselves on the bridge leading into Eveningstar, the new stone bridge leading into Eveningstar.
Nice.
I love how
Melodonus.
often this bridge comes up. It's fantastic.
Right.
You gotta
So many
remember
memories.
it. Always remember it. Marvelous. Seems that we have not had any mishaps. Excellent. Yes, everyone here, all limbs accounted for.
I
Yes,
check.
I'll pat myself down and make sure I'm not
Yeah.
missing like my dagger.
Yes, you seem to be all right. Tail all right there, Clyve, warrior Clyve. Tail still intact.
It would appear so. Does
Marvelous.
it move normally? Everything's
Yeah,
good?
everything seems fine, yeah. He's like, good. Never know when there might be a teleportation mishap. A little wizard joke for you. Still, might one find a place where one can quench one's thirst before returning back to their home?
Come to the keep? No?
I would be delighted to be a guest, but I did not wish to presume.
What's the name of our bar?
You have an inn called the Tressum King,
right, the Tressum.
or you can, or the keep. You have food and drink at the keep as well.
Tressum King's the the place where the parties go down, right?
It's where Baragon is, yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know the place. Give him
lead
a big
on.
nod.
Yeah, lead on, Warrior Clyve. Very good, very good. And yeah, Melodonus will leave you for a time being. But yeah, congratulations. There's your 5,000 gold and your deed to a castle.
Nice.
I need to map on your region map. Boop. A border for Castle Braewinter.
How
Sound
much
good.
gold do we have in total now?
5,265.
Thank you.
He's on it.
And then next time we're gonna pop on over to that mine, get even some more gold.
Yes. So
Look
the
up our
mine,
stonks.
there's a couple of ways we can do this, and we'll talk. This will be like the last thing we talk about, and then we'll probably start looking at wrapping up. Well, actually, no, we've still got a little bit of time. So with the mine, there's two ways. You guys can go in it yourselves, and we'll make it like a little dungeon, basically, of like you guys going in and clearing out whatever trouble's in there, maybe. Or in the next kingdom phase, you can start claiming the hexes. You won't actually get the benefits of the mine until it's in your territory and you've cleared it out. So you'll need to basically build the hexes towards it and then either send a unit in to go and clear it out, which will take longer and also might put the unit at risk, or you guys can go in as an adventuring party because you're much more powerful than a military unit and you guys can do it and we'll do it as like a little mini delve, mini dungeon. Either way, both of those things are fine. So you can do that. We can also mark Lady Vanifer's heirloom as completed, which means that you have got 1/4 of a level advancement. So if you get 3 more of those things, that'll be a
Yay.
complete level up. Yeah, great job. Great job. Big success. Yeah.
So I don't currently have access to Roll20, but
Yes, I can answer
what-
questions for you.
What looks like? Well, this is mainly for the party. What's the most tantalizing next quest if we want to do a quest? Is the mine one of the quests?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's the mine or the floating tower are the two doable quests.
Yes, because the other two are kingdom quests. So that's there's one which is to build stone walls and a garrison, and then the other one was to build where is it?
It's the Stoling Hall.
Stoling Hall and
Stoling
hold a
Hall.
festival. Yes, so those are the two kingdom quests currently. So you're kind of on the way to completing the defenses one, the fortified defenses, and then the Stoling Hall and stuff. And we can do another kingdom turn to represent another month. But if there's anything you want to achieve in this month, we can look at doing that as well. I'm just going to update your treasury.
Because the since Shady, you can't see Roll20 right now. The
Mhm.
silver mine will give us +3 wealth to our
Yes.
next kingdom turn. The floating tower is question marks for rewards, and then both of them have the 1/4 level advancement.
Okay, and the so the mine, obviously, Mark just said we won't actually get the +3 wealth until we connect our hexagons,
Yes,
right?
that's correct.
What's the deal with that floating tower? It's kind of floating.
So you remember, so I'll remind you on this, Elissa sent out some scouts, and this was before you went to the Shadowfell to Castle Braewinter, and they had found this floating tower. It looks somewhat elven in construction, and there was a tribe of mountain orcs, so orcs that live in the mountains, who were attempting to build up to it. You could see them, they were like, building like kind of scaffolding and trying to construct like stone bridges and things like that, and pillars, trying to get to this tower. The scouts didn't get close enough to determine what the orcs are about. They don't know if they're like hostile or if they're friendly. They just saw them trying to get to this tower, and then they came back and you guys were like, oh, that's kind of interesting. Maybe we should look into that. Maybe we should just have the scouts keep an eye on it. The last thing that the scouts reported was that the orcs had stopped trying to get to the tower, but that was like several weeks ago now. So
Okay. Does Azara nose fly?
No.
No. Does Melodonus no fly?
Melodonus does no fly. Melodonus could also make scrolls of flying that Azara could use.
Ooh.
Yeah, is that something over the month if we do another kingdom phase to ask him to make us 4 scrolls of flying?
Absolutely, you can do that. Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Sweet.
I'd be
Yeah,
down.
Because either we can get a bunch of scrolls of all flying,
Well,
or like
Here's
go
the
ahead.
thing. So Azara can use the Scrolls of Fly, but once she uses one, because it's a concentration spell, it would only be... But you can make a higher level Scroll of Fly, which affects more people. What's the highest level Azara can cast at?
6th.
6th. So you could do 4 creatures. If you make a 6th level Scroll of Fly, that would do 4 creatures for an hour. You would have flying speed. Melodonus can do it. He can make 6th level scrolls. It will just be a price. There will just be a gold price of like, he will charge you X amount to make that.
How much
for the material costs? So I need to look into that. So that might be a next episode thing.
Okay.
Because
but I think that's a good.
And he'll only charge you half price, so whatever it costs, he'll literally just charge you what it costs to make it. He won't charge you any extra on top of that, because he's like a nice contact to have. But he can only do that. That's the only thing he'll be able to do for you that month is make you that scroll.
Make scrolls.
Because
my brain was also thinking, what if Azara has 1 scroll of flying at the lowest level, can she cast it on Clyve and let him fly us up and back, and like she can hold her concentration just not one person?
Absolutely, you could do that as well. You could just have Clyve be a little ferry to take you up and down.
Okay, so then absolutely. We would just want to know for next time how much is a puny scroll flying and how much is big boy scroll flying.
Yeah, I need to work that out because the DMG doesn't actually have prices, so I just need to like find a fair price for that basically and figure that out. The other thing I would say is for Azara, this floating tower. There's definitely like there were definitely elven elements to it, and you remember that there was some stuff that you kind of uncovered, like an old temple or like an old statue to Adria Fenrir as well, and there were maybe some hints that this tower might be connected to that as well.
Then, if Tarkhal starts talking about the tower, Azara will emphatically agree that we should start making plans to head towards the tower. And also, I would probably ask. Sarah Lee, if she can start gathering as much information as possible on Airdrie and on floating towers in history and between the two.
Sure, that's great. Why don't you make a roll for Sarah Lee for me? If you can just make an Arcana check with a +6 bonus. And then she will spend time doing that, basically. 21. Okay. So I'm just going to put an update here. Fly scroll, level 3 and level 6 prices. Sarah Lee research, 21, Arcana check, Adria Fenrir, and floating towers.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That is some homework for me to do whilst between our next episode. Cool. I will do all of that stuff. Cool.
Sweet.
Is there anything else that you guys want to kind of cover before we end today's episode? Like any NPCs you want to talk to, any business you want to lay down, or anything at all like that? I've got something, but I want to make sure you guys have your opportunities.
I don't think I do.
Okay. Nice. In that case, this one's for Azara mainly. At some point in the month, one night it's a bit of an autumn rainstorm. Rain kind of thrumming against the stone walls and the glass windows of your tower. Late at night, maybe you're kind of just getting ready to go to bed, or like maybe you've already kind of gone to bed, and you hear somebody knocking at your door. And it's kind of an unusual hour for anybody to come calling on you.
I guess Azara will she'll wake up and reach towards her staff and ask who's at the door.
You just hear Illista's voice come from it, saying, "It's me. Can I come in, please?"
Of course. And she'll like rush up and like put on a robe and like light some lanterns really quickly.
Yeah. When you eventually open the door, kind of soaked through, just wearing probably what is like her sort of undershirt from her armor, and like a hasty pair of boots that she's thrown on, but like completely dripping and soaked through. Illissa is at the door, and she looks like really worked up about something. And she just sort of stumbles in. I'm so sorry to wake you. I have to talk to somebody about it. And you're the only person that I wanted to.
Azara kind of gets a little flustered and then pulls out a chair and kind of tries to get some tea, but realizes tea will take too long and like shuffles through her drawers.
It's fine. I just need to talk. I don't need a drink or anything. I need to talk to you.
Of course. And she'll sit across from her and
and she kind of
really
looks
concerned.
Yeah, she looks at you and sort of like pushes like the wet hair out of her face. Do you remember what happened at the temple, the spa, those things, the hags?
Vaguely, yes. The with the paintings and
the deal I made with them and
yes.
what happened to me. Every night I keep having the same nightmare of being that thing, that version of myself again, and everyone seeing me, and is there a spell or anything you know that can just make me forget, or just help me sleep, or just anything? I'm so ashamed of it, Azara. I'm so ashamed of it, of the weakness of giving into it and what it made me, and everyone seeing me. I just can't bear it. I can't bear it anymore.
Azara will take her hands and kind of cut her off. She'll say, there isn't any magic that can cure an uneasy soul. And I wish that there was something I could just give you or snap my fingers and make you sleep. But what you need to do is you need to have a little talk with yourself. And you need to just realize that you are cared for and that no one here will laugh at you, and that these are the delusions of your own fears, thinking that anyone would ever look less of you for who you are now or who you were under that curse. And you won't be able to sleep if you continue to doubt yourself.
I've never doubted myself in anything before up until now. I always prided myself on being strong and being a good leader and everything. And since meeting you and the Baroness and everyone, I wanted to be somebody that lived up to some of those expectations. And I wanted to be somebody that fit in, that could stand next to you and the others and not seem out of place. You're right.
I don't know why you would ever seem out of place, because when you stand next to the Baroness and the Baron and me and Clyve, you fit in. You are our blade captain, and we chose you. You are strong and you are powerful. And I don't know what changed if you've known this in your heart for so long. There's nothing different. The only thing different is, I dare say, you've gotten stronger. You are building an army, a regime, and they follow you and listen to you. And even Clyve respects you, which is hard to get anybody to be respected by him. And that's impressive.
She kind of smiles a little bit, and then she kind of looks very awkwardly sort of under her eyes at you and just like, there is one thing that's different. You weren't in my life before, and I just don't know how to act around you. Honestly, I've never met anyone like you. I've never felt. I'm not really sure what I'm saying, but you've made things different, and I just really wanted to fit in by your side. And that's like when she kind of like, and you can see she's like blushing hard, but also looks quite ashamed. Like, there's a mixture of confused emotions kind of going on in Alyssa.
Azara also blushes and takes Alyssa's other hand and like holds both of her hands, and she'll say, you don't have to change yourself for me. I honestly feel like I'm not strong enough to stand by your side sometimes. And she'll stop her because she sees her trying to say, she's like, no. Think about it. I've grown up in castles and in courts and ball gowns and jewels, and you can hold your own with a lion from another realm. Sure, I have magic, but you're strong and have power and have influence, and I don't know what that's like.
Well, I think that you are the strongest person I know to deal with all of that, to go through all of this. And maybe it's just... Do you know why I wanted to become a knight?
Why?
Because when I was little, the only thing I could ever dream about was rescuing a damsel in distress and carrying her off into some tower from some evil dragon. And then up until now, there's never been anybody, no boy or girl that I'd ever seen that kind of met that. So I just thought it was just a childhood dream. And then the day I met you, I just knew that here's the princess I wanted to save all along.
Azara will like hide her face a little bit.
Yeah.
And
she does the same. She like turns away kind of thing.
To kind of like alleviate the tension because she's getting too emotional and she doesn't know how to like just let that exist. She's like, well, if it'll make you feel better, I can put on a ball gown and fall out of my window so you can catch me.
I will catch you anytime. And yeah, we'll just leave it there. But it's kind of like like she kind of probably spends the night just kind of talking about what happened at the temple, and kind of like, you know, getting some help as well. Just kind of like talking about what about it scares her and stuff like that. But yeah, it's obviously something that's been building up since you got back from the Restful Lily. So
I ship it.
Yeah. Yep. So all right. And then on that note, I think that we will also, just to kind of end things back on that same rainy night, is when another visitor arrives back at Eveningstar, and we see a woman with long dark hair and a green dress returning, ready to meet with her beloved. But that's where we'll end the episode.
What, guys? What?
The girlfriend is here to stay.
Cute Blade Captain. Oh, this is great. As soon as Willowsong struts in the rain, it's just, oh no.
No.
Alyssa did say she needs to save a princess from a dragon, and here comes a fucking dragon.
Yeah.
She just needed to look like one. She's not actually a dragon.
She's not. She's not actually a dragon.
Why do you guys
Fake
like
news.
this Blade Captain that specifically like saves you all the time and does all this nice stuff, and you don't like my girlfriend who's so shady and like actually messes with us all the time and has never done anything actually to help us? Why?
Why would you not trust this creepy poison Fey wild creature? What? No.
I don't trust the lion from the Fae. Yeah, we're both getting offended right now.
Yeah.
Oh god.
I love it. I love it.
Fun,
I love
Mark.
it so much.
That was great.
It's amazing.
Great.
That was great.
Great stuff, everyone. That was a good mix of an episode as well. Like, they got did the bookkeeping, did like the gamey stat stuff, and then some really lovely RP bits. And I'm glad that we could tick off some of this stuff that's been lingering around for a while as well, like the Lady Vaneth request, which has just been like unresolved for like a season and a bit, basically.
We're like, yeah, we'll give her her lantern.
Well,
yeah.
Magic
we thought
Magic
she was
base bar.
evil.
You did.
So then we're like, I will get
It
to
was
her
great.
eventually. And she's like, I'm dying. And we're
Yeah.
like, oh.
Seriously, when you guys were all talking about like, no, she's cursed, right? And like, we need to surprise her so that like she doesn't turn on us. I was like, and like you were saying like, no, somebody told us that she's evil. I was like, 100% they have not, because that has never been the case. Like the whole time I've had in my notes, like, is cursed, is like, you know, can't leave her house, just wants to be cured,
Is
but
frail
is a
and
shape
sick.
like
There was an argument about it, but I don't remember what.
Yeah,
I think
it was
the argument
amazing.
was actually earlier about like whether or not we should decurse someone without their consent or something, but it actually had nothing to do with her being evil. But I think we remembered it as her being, I don't know.
Yeah, there was a
Whatever.
whole thing. It was like a whole thing. But yeah, no, it was
Also,
great.
the tank now has higher than 15 AC. So
Hooray!
That is a
Yay.
huge bonus.
God.
Yeah,
I'm
so
really
you-
happy about that.
Yeah, 18 AC for Clyve, combined with the fact that he's taking half damage from pretty much most damage anyway, unless it's like magical damage or like elemental damage. Like that's going to be a big help for Clyve to not go down in every fight. And maybe one day I'll actually hit Tarkhal when I attack him.
Oh,
So
stop. You already hit me by making my friends hit my girlfriend. It's fine.
yeah, that's true.
That's
yeah,
true.
that's true.
We do
I
hate
think
her.
I don't think I've hit Agnis very much either. I think it's normally Clyve and Azara take all of the damage in combat.
Well, there's a reason for that, which is that
Yeah.
Agnes doesn't go to the front.
No, yeah, Agnes is the. Neither does Azara,
neither
but like
does Azara.
somehow Azara.
Well,
But
it's
Azara
because-
does like some crazy strong spell, and then all the
Yeah.
enemies are like, die.
That's
That's
the
what it
problem.
is.
Is like Agnis is like really consistent low, like it's like consistent good damage. Just like I'm gonna chip away at these monsters, and then Azara's like 60 points of damage, and I'm like, yeah, they're gonna knock you on your
You
on the
assess
floor.
threat, duh.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm like, I have 15 AC. Leave me alone.
Punch. Amazing. Great job, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of Knights of Eveningstar. That's going to be it from us. We're going to do shout outs real quick. We're just going to rock it around the table. You know what? I'm going to go first
Nice.
this week. I did
Love
it myself. I'm Mark Hulmes. I'm also known as SherlockHulmes. You can check me out on my Twitter, which is the same. It's Sherlock_Hulmes. But my main thing is I do a little D&D show called High Rollers D&D. It's very, very exciting. You should come and join us for that. It's every Sunday, 5 p.m. UK time, which I think is 9 a.m. Pacific. What a great way to spend your Sunday morning. Get breakfast in bed, watch some D&D with a bunch of British people. Great. We've also just announced that we did a huge fundraiser to get our own studio equipped. We actually have our own studio space. We raised like so much money that is mind-blowing. Like people doubled what we were looking for. Like we had a goal, people doubled it, which means we can get all the best looking stuff. We've got like a set designer. Our current campaign, once we get into the new studio, and our next campaign is going to look amazing. So come in and join the party early and come and check out High Rollers D&D as well. And that's it for me. I'm going to throw it to Mica Burton.
Hi, my name is Mica Burton. You can find me everywhere at Mica Burton. Everything I'm doing is under NDA right now, so
Yeah.
check out my horseback riding Instagram at Mika Strides. I have a horse. His name is Aragorn. He is the true king of Gondor. Shady.
Hi guys, my name's ShadyPenguinn. You can find me at ShadyPenguinn. I stream a lot right now on Twitch. You can find my YouTube videos on youtube.com/ShadyPenguinn and my Twitter on twitter.com/ShadyPenguinn. I haven't seen my bare face in 6 years, and it's starting to get to me. I tag Nate.
Wow.
was heavy.
Nate has opinions about Shady's bare face, apparently.
It looks great. I don't
What?
know what.
Yeah,
your
I don't see
problem
why
is.
it wouldn't.
Dude.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I don't know what it looks like anymore. It's been 6 years.
I've never seen
Do
Shady
it.
barefaced.
I don't know if I
Do it.
can. You got to understand, like the beard adds so much chin, so your heads looks longer, and then you crush
Shady,
it,
I get
and then
it.
it goes
Trust
that
me.
way.
Yeah, I get it. Like, it's good to give the skin a chance to breathe, you know?
Yeah, I might at some point maybe scare my kids. Go ahead, Nate.
Hello, I am Nate. That is me. That is my name. I don't know if I've mentioned this yet on here, but I did a recent theme song for Beyblade Burst Quad Drive, which is on Disney XD. So if you want to check it out, go do that. And
Love it.
that's all. Thank you. That's all I got. I tag Anna.
Hi, I'm Anna. You can find me at annaprosser.com, where recently I have revamped that site and posted a new performance reel because my usual job is being a host and presenter in especially like the geek and gaming world. But for anything you need talking for, I can do that talking for you for money.
Yes, and you should. Anna is very good at talking.
on.
What a sales
for
pitch,
money.
ladies
Yeah.
and gentlemen.
I love it. Business Anna. Business Anna's here to play.
Or if you just are like, I would love to see what Anna is doing, you can check out that reel. It's on my website, annaprosser.com, under video. It's the first one I've updated since 2014, so I believe it is much improved. I hope you will agree. And you can find me at Anna Prosser on social media anywhere, and you can find my dog at Happy Niski. She's cuter than me, so if you are choosing which one to follow her. I tag who's left.
Don't
Was
The
I
end of
last?
the show.
Yeah.
You were last.
I tag you, audience.
Wow.
You give yourself a pat on the back and you tell yourself where to find yourself. Because
Yeah,
that
let us know in chat
is
what
the
you're
true
doing.
friend you made along the way.
Amazing. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you, all of you at home. We hope you're enjoying Knights of Eveningstar Season 4. We'll
Thanks,
be back
Dave.
for another episode. Thank you, White Text Friend, as always. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Take care. We love you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Mwah, mwah, mwah.